translator. I didn't come out here to see corpses hanging on hooks.
It goes without saying that you're going to encounter the unexpected.
Not corpses on hooks.
Have you ever considered that you might be happier back at the university? Teaching. I did it for years. It was quite rewarding.
I'm an exolinguist. I graduated second in my class. I spent 3 years in Starfleet training. I was Jonathan Archer's first choice for this mission. Every inhabited world we come to is going to be filled with language. Some will have hundreds of them. He needs me here.
Welcome to Deep Space Pride, a gay Star Trek podcast. I am one of your hosts, Johnson Lee, and with me is Mike Thurlow. Mike, how are you doing today?
I am doing all right. It's hump day, Wednesday.
Yeah.
We both survived it.
We both survived. I mean, there were some tough parts
There
today, to say the least. But we both made it. I mean, the most of our banter over Slack today was just about trying to get through the day. So
yes. And if it were warmer out, I would have said, let's postpone this. Let's go get a sangria at Empanada Mama's. And
I haven't been outside since Saturday.
Yeah,
I went out Saturday. Wait, no, I went out Sunday. Yes.
Oh,
I did go a week without going outside because I went out this past Saturday, and the last time I went out before that was the previous Saturday.
Oh wow. Yeah. You missed some good, beautiful days though. You need to get outside and get some vitamin D in your skin. Some air, different air.
I take Centrum, a multivitamin. I'm good. It has vitamin D.
Maybe not enough.
I mean, I think it's enough. It says 100%, so I don't know what you want from me. 100% of my vitamin D. I got it. I don't. Wait, what's that? Is it shingles? Is it shingles or scurvy? No, scurvy is vitamin C. Lack of vitamin C. I think shingles is if you don't have enough vitamin D, like your bones will curve or something.
That's not shingles. Shingles is like.
Oh no, shingles is like chicken pox thing.
Chicken pox. Worse chicken pox.
Rickets.
Maybe rickets.
Yes. Okay.
Perhaps.
Anyway, this is like my bio degree crying in the basement of my parents' house. It's like, what was all this for? 4 years of biology. Really a shame. In any case, here we are.
We
made it.
Yes, we made it. Mm-hmm.
So what have you been up to? How has life been?
Life's been fine. Getting back into running. Did a long run this past weekend of 5 miles. So that was good. We're going to shoot for 6 on Friday.
I know. I was very impressed with how much you've been running. It's actually very commendable.
Yeah, I'm trying to get back into it. I mean, definitely the body is different a year later than it was when I ran a half marathon. So I need to get that back.
When is your goal of running a full marathon again?
As a little over 2 years.
Yeah.
So my hope is to run a 10K in the next 2 months, like a race, maybe even the next month if I find there is something in mid-May, a 10K, but I have not signed up for yet because we really haven't talked about our May schedule yet. And then probably 2 half marathons this year.
God, your road trip still in the calendar?
It's still in the calendar. It is
your trip across America.
Yeah, so Dennis has like been a little cryptic about he has a new idea, or some new ideas, and but he wants me to formulate my own ideas for this trip, and then we have a meeting scheduled for either tomorrow night or Friday night. So
a meeting.
We have
Is it a Zoom?
we had yeah. No, we're gonna sit down and sit down and go through our thoughts and plans and kind of think through what we both want to do. So
Are there shared documents yet?
No, there's no shared documents yet.
So it's like all in your brain.
Well, it's all in his brain. He has a spreadsheet in his brain too. So, but I have not sat down. I've done a little thought about it, and I am gonna do some more. I'm gonna sit down and do this little meditation dream.
Oh, okay.
Thing and
are you gonna talk to your animal guide?
Oh, maybe I should. And this is the year of the ox.
Vision quest.
I'm gonna do a vision quest with my ox, spirit animal.
I mean, Chakotay's advice would be to take some medicinal herbs or something, and airplane.
Maybe I will drink a bottle of wine and do it.
You can do that too.
Today is worthy of a bottle of wine.
I could have used a drink. But
yeah, I don't think neither one of us are really
we're not big drinkers.
We're not big drinkers. No.
Yeah. I'm definitely not. I mean, it gives me acid reflux, so I'm not a huge drinker.
Oh yeah. Does it give you flush as well?
No, I actually don't have much of a reaction. It's more
okay.
I don't feel my stomach is usually not pleased after.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well,
so planning that this
many
week.
things to look forward to. Your cardio activities, your trip across America, etc.
Yeah. And I'm actually getting a little more. So I mewe need to talk about this offline, but there is the 55-year mission in Las Vegas this summer, and do
you have enough PTO days?
I'm going to use some all on my vacation, and then but I think I'll have enough because I've earned, I haven't taken any really this year. So it's sort of there's banked hours in there. So
yeah.
So I think I'll be fine.
Cool.
But I haven't even looked at the dates for Las Vegas yet.
I have no idea.
So
it's definitely happening, right?
It does sound like it's definitely happening. Yeah. So we need to talk about that, and then we have Chicago in a year. Yes. Which I have two minds of. It might be fun to drive out to Chicago and rather than fly out. If we still have a car and at that point, or so we'll kind of see.
That sounds good. I'm excited, but I'm also kind of oh my god, flying.
Yeah, I'm still a little nervous. Yeah, today I'm outside of the 14-day window now. I am fully vaccinated. But I still am, still a little weary of airplane travel. Yeah.
I'm definitely immune because I had it and I had my first shot. I'm fine.
Right.
But I'm still, it's just psychologically, I'm flying. Ugh.
Yeah. Being in a enclosed compartment with other people of various states of who knows, you don't know if they're vaccinated, they're not vaccinated.
Yeah, who knows?
Whether they're asymptomatic carriers, all this stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of unknowns. I agree.
Variables
so
that we cannot control. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, something to potentially look forward to / worry about, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
And you people, you're all astronauts on some kind of Star Trek.
So why don't we start with what we've been Star Trekking this week? So Mike, I understand that you have started Enterprise Renaissance. How's that going?
It's funny you call it a renaissance.
Well, you went through your Voyager Renaissance.
I did.
Started to go through that journey. You still need to revive DS9. That was something that you were inspired sci-fi, but never quite got back on the bandwagon just yet because now we have Enterprise.
Right. And this year's the 20th anniversary of Enterprise. So as you know, as I said in the last episode, I wasn't that excited about watching Enterprise.
You were basically like, this is suboptimal. I will do this because it's part of our series.
I will do the homework.
It was begrudgingly accepted as the next topic of our podcast.
Yes. And so so I decided to get back into it, and I thought of the trilogy that we talked about for T'Pol was The Forge, and that's later in season 4.
Yes.
So I kind of wanted to put myself in the place of where are the characters now, so meaning now in their timeline.
Yes.
And I started with the season finale of season 3, the Xindi arc coming to a close,
and then World War II,
and then ran into World War II, and I just got kind of sucked in, and I think it was because these characters had matured, and I guess when I think of Enterprise, I often think of them in the early parts of their seasons when they're sort of just fledglings out in the universe. I mean, one of the homework assignments was Fight or Flight.
I know, episode 2.
So which I just watched today and during my lunch. And that reminded me of so essentially what happened was I started watching this season 3 finale. I have basically almost made it through the entire season 4. I have 3 episodes left, and then
season 4 was also truncated. It was only 20 episodes or something?
22, I think I want to say, but
a little bit shorter than usual.
A little bit shorter, but the arcs are really good.
They're great.
They're 3-episode arcs or 2-episode arcs. They're intergalactic in the sense that we're seeing races like the Tellarites and the Andorians and the Klingons. So we're kind of getting
interplanetary,
maybe yes. All right, fine, whatever.
I'm sorry, I get into semantics like that. Intergalactic would be in between galaxies.
All right, you're right.
Interplanetary.
Okay.
Yes. Continue.
To continue, yes.
Okay, so one thing that bothers me about Star Trek sometimes, they make these statements like the whole universe has never seen something like this. I'm like, really? The whole universe? How would you fucking know? Like, things like that. Sometimes statements like that. Like, I'm like, all right, so you speak for everyone, the entire universe or the entire galaxy? Like, things like that bother me.
Yeah, you don't like absolute statements.
No.
Yeah, which makes sense. No.
Especially
I think it's just easy.
Be specific.
Yeah, I mean, it's just easy to make. Humans make generalizations and broad generalizations at that. So, sort of in our nature. But yes, I can see where
these are all scientists talking. That, and it's all like, oh, this phenomenon no one's ever seen before in the entire galaxy. I'm like, really? Tell me more, bitch. All right, continue.
So I'm really enjoying this interplanetary.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Interplanetary drama of This is really, you really do get a sense of the founding of the Federation, and you see that teased at the beginning of the season because what's his name? Richards. What is the 30th century guy that gets involved? What is his name?
Daniels.
Thank you. Way off.
31st century. Thank God. Yes. Oh my God.
So
it was like, please just let's close this temporal Cold War arc and just put it behind us so we can move on with our lives.
Yeah.
Mess. I watched all these episodes and I still did not understand what happened, but whatever.
Well, I mean, the timeline reset itself. So
no, I understand, but the whole temporal Cold War, it just, what was it? Fundamentally, I had a hard time kind of comprehending it. And then the shadow guy. They never reveal who he was, but they didn't know who he was. They just didn't plan it well. They had no idea what they were doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, back then it was episodic TV, right? It was just like,
Yeah,
let's create this thing and then
throw in the serialized element. At least think it through,
Yeah. Yeah. That wasn't the style back then, though.
Kind of.
So anyway, this season, I really like the interplanetary.
Thank you.
The interplanetary drama, and also kind of the founding of the Federation, that you like, the Jonathan Archer bringing together all of these core worlds. So you kind of see it being pulled together, and I enjoyed that. So I've just been kind of like continually like letting it continue to play because it's just been that good, and I haven't skipped anything. I am going to skip in a Mirror Darkly because I just watched that when we were talking about the Mirror Universe back in Discovery season 3.
Yes.
So
yes.
I'm gonna skip that, and so I really only have 3 episodes and then the finale left to watch, and I'm sure I'm gonna be sad, but because I think it's really great to see this. We talk about how Discovery kind of brought us back to the beginning of Star Trek, like pre-Kirk and all of that stuff. But in reality, Enterprise did that, and the founding of the Federation, I think, is really interesting. And how Jonathan Archer, if you really watch season 4, you get an idea of how not powerful, influential Jonathan Archer is in making this all happen. So
I think that Enterprise really hit its stride in season 4 when Manny Coto took over, and I think that it kind of brought to life this pre-TOS era, because then they played more into the sandbox. Because I think the problem with season 1 is that they tried to really create they try to make their own mark on the Star Trek mythology, but because of that, they introduced this like temporal Cold War thing. It got so complicated. Some of the things were cool, like the implications of it being the first Warp 5 ship. There are definitely some interesting things about that, but they didn't play enough, in my mind, in this bigger sandbox that they really played in season 4, which is like, let's tease all these things that like people really want to hear and know, because I think they were probably a little bit gun shy to do that, but that's what I think the fans wanted. It's like, show us what the early days of the Federation look like. Don't just show us the ship going about its way, just
exploring
random things week to week. Tease all the stuff that we're gonna see later on in Trek, and that's really what Manny Coto tried to do when he took over as showrunner. I thought he did a great job. So it's a shame that season 4 was the last season, because I think that's really when it kind of fulfilled its promise as a prequel to TOS. But by that time, the ratings had dropped to the point where it couldn't really recover, which is too bad.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm enjoying it. And I'm glad, I'm glad I didn't, I went back and watched one of the other episode that you gave me homework for, Twilight in season 3 and the Xindi War arc. But I'm glad I didn't really have to watch that whole arc, that whole season, and kind of go through that.
It was like, it had its moments, but sometimes it just became like a week to week random thing.
Yeah. So I enjoyed these mini arcs that Manny Coto came up with, and I enjoy. I honestly think that as much as we're DS9 fans, I actually think that Shran is probably one of my favorite characters that Jeffrey Combs played.
He had a lot to do.
Yeah, but more so than Wei-Un from DS9. DS9 is our favorite. Yes, you get to see Jeffrey Combs in that, but in that role. But I think that his if I were to highlight something that Jeffrey Combs did the best, would be this Shran character.
Well, he was more of a character. Wei-Un is almost like a caricature, because he's just like this character that's cloned. Cloned and cloned again. While Shran kind of had like a whole backstory,
Yep.
And he developed this friendship with Jonathan Archer over years, so he just had more to do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I also think that Andorians are very interesting as a race, so, and, I just watched last night or the night before the Anar, the Enar, sorry, the Enar. That was interesting. So yeah, it just, I'm really enjoying my little Enterprise Renaissance. And
It's Renaissance.
Probably after this, I'll go back and finish doing some Voyager rewatch. And I also find that, so obviously we're not talking about off topic this week, but I just want to dip into something really quick. Not about a specific thing, but I like watching old episodes of Trek because you can kind of just relax. And even though I didn't remember all the things that happened in this season of Enterprise, so it was like a little bit of an excitement, like, oh, how are they going to get out of this, what's going to happen, especially when the Romulan arc came into play, like that whole piece. I was like, ooh, I vaguely
it's been
remember
a while,
this,
I guess.
Yeah, so but I like the comfort. I think that older Trek brings comfort. Like it's kind of, like it's something that we go back to. Well, like you're back watching TNG. So,
yes.
So I think that there's just something versus going in and trying out a new series or jumping into a series again that's got a slightly different tone. I still haven't jumped into For All Mankind season 2 yet.
Oh my god, it's so good. It's really good. I know what you're talking about. Sometimes you're just not in the mood to like watch a new show or episode because you really need to pay attention. Like For All Mankind, there's usually a lot happening.
Yeah.
Or it's like you're just or Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Exactly, yeah.
Which is great, but it's also like sometimes I'm like, oh my god, who's gonna die this episode? Is something gonna happen? It's gonna be stressful.
Yeah, there's a little bit of stress in watching a new show, something that you don't know where it's going, which can be exciting in the right situation if you're in the right frame of mind to watch that.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying just kind of sitting back and enjoying some old Star Trek. And
yes.
So yeah, so and I actually think I'm enjoying this more now than I did the first time I watched it. I think after seeing Discovery kind of do some Vulcan things / Navarre things with it, I think that it's interesting that going back and seeing pre-Federation Vulcans go through this whole Surak rejuvenation. So, and we'll talk a little bit more about that and when we get into it, but yeah, so I'm enjoying Enterprise, and we'll probably go back and finish Voyager, and then I think it's time to go back and watch DS9. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, I think that sounds like a plan for me. Yeah. So I'm like, now I'm starting to scrape the bottom of the barrel with my TNG rewatch. And I shouldn't say that. I mean, there's still a few good episodes. I started watching Descent, which is, in my opinion, not actually one of the better two-parters. I didn't love it the first time, and I'm not loving it this time. It's just like, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know what I need to kind of think about why it's not that good. I don't know if this is like mixing the Borg with lore. Something just about this doesn't work that well, in my opinion. Like, I think Time's Arrow is a better two-parter than Descent for some reason. I don't know. At least that's my opinion. I did, however, rewatch All Good Things because I was just kind of in the mood. I was like, oh, I'm starting to run short on like episodes to watch between season 3 and season 7. It's like, what now? And I was also kind of inspired by the Picard trailer because I was like, oh, let's watch this, see where we left things off. And that was great. That last scene, I know we talked about last time, that last scene still gets me every time. I'm like, oh, yep. he was always welcome.
Yeah, right.
So something about that epilogue always gets me. I'm just like, oh, so anyway, yeah. So actually, speaking of Picard, the other thing that I started talking to you about right before we started recording is that Akiva Goldsman was interviewed, and he mostly was talking about Strange New Worlds and how he was talking about. I don't think there's anything new. He's talking about like the episodic nature that they're going to approach it, but doing like character arcs. All right, yes, we've heard all this before. But that being said, when he was interviewed, he was also asked about Picard season 2, and he was basically asked, "Hey, like, you know, what from season 1, in terms of learnings, would you apply to season 2?" And he was just like, "Figure out the ending before you start filming." And I was like, "Excuse me?" I was indignant because I was just like, if you're gonna have a 10 episode serialized arc, should you not figure out the ending before you start to film like the first scene of episode 1? So that made me just, I mean, at the same time, I didn't love season 1, so I'm not surprised that they were trying to figure things out along the way. But this isn't like Lost. I know you never watched Lost, but
No,
Lost
I
was
love
like,
I watched Lost.
oh, you did watch Lost?
Yeah,
oh,
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you didn't watch Lost. Okay.
No.
Lost was, it was problematic because they had no idea where they were going. Like, what, 6 seasons? 5, 6 seasons. They had no idea where they're going. They were just laying on mystery upon mystery. And they were like, at the end of the day, they were just like, you know what? We don't have any answers. So there you are. But if you're going to have these like 10 episode arcs, you can figure it out. Like, come on. So I was like incredulous. And I was just, that was an eye roll for me. And I was like, okay, well, let's see if this season, is better, at least for me. I know you love season 1, but season 1 was.
I did, but I'm wondering if they had a thought of where it was going, and as they got there or got closer to there, they realized that they didn't know exactly how they were going to wrap it up.
I mean, because there were moments in season 1 where it's like, this is like meandering a little bit, like, and I feel that if you want like good tight storytelling, you should plan it out. You should storyboard the season and just kind of be like, all right, these are the major things we want to hit along the way. This is where we'll get to.
I vaguely remember there being, though, this idea that they something got extended, like something. Either it was in a interview with Hanel, she's the director of the first 2 episodes.
I don't know.
I can't think of her name, but I think she said that in the ready room, I think she said that there were, some things had to carry over, like we didn't get to that, and it kind of pushed it out. So I think that things didn't play out quite like they planned to, like certain scenes that maybe her episodes 1 and 2 didn't get finished, and that got pushed into episode 3, and then that pushed it out, and like all of these things. So I think, there, I remember hearing that. So I think that maybe it wasn't kind of fully fleshed out, but also they may have had too much information in, too much planned.
Yeah, maybe they try to like
who knows
too much.
Yeah,
I think that's, I would believe that, because a lot of things, and again, one of my complaints is I feel a lot of the things I threw into season 1 were like half baked. It didn't kind of live up to the potential, and maybe that's why. So anyway,
possibly.
Here's hoping that season 2, that I love it. I want to love it. But well, we won't find out until 2022. So
yeah,
I might be dead by then. Who knows? You never know.
Well, we've got, there's been some talk that, we may see, like, who knows about Prodigy, where that'll fit in, whether that'll slot in before Lower Decks and then go into Lower Decks and then go into Discovery and then go into Picard. So we might see a real good run of Trek later this year, into 2022. Nice. So, and then somewhere on the other end of Picard, or maybe, Strange New Worlds comes up before Picard. Who knows?
Who the fuck knows? Not
so it's hard to say, but so, well, I think that covers what did we Star Trek.
Yes. So
we went off into a lot of tangents.
A lot. Well, last week was worse. Last week we were all over the place. Whatever. This week we're gonna be focused. We know what we're gonna talk about. So why don't we get into our Women of Enterprise discussion? Are you ready?
I am ready. Let's do it.
Centuries ago, a set of Kotric arcs were discovered at the Pishan Monastery.
Kotric arcs?
Polycrystalline vessels, allegedly used by ancient Vulcans to preserve Kotras. They were scanned, analyzed. One of the scientists even attempted to meld with them. They found nothing to indicate the presence of a Kotra.
The Vulcan Science Academy was just as skeptical about time travel.
Do you really believe you possess the living spirit of Surak inside you? A man who died 1,800 years ago.
Now when you put it like that.
So cool. So why don't we start our Women of Enterprise discussion with Hoshi Sato, Asian representation on Enterprise.
Yes.
So one of my assignments was to give you an assignment to figure out what episodes, singular or multiple, to watch when it comes to Hoshi, and what would most well represent this character. And I have to be totally honest, this was a struggle bus. It was hard. I remember there was like the Zindi arc episode where she was like on this planet with this like telepath, and he was like hitting on her. I was like, that's not a good episode. And then I was like, well, in A Mirror Darkly, she had something to do because she became Empress Sato or whatever.
Yeah.
But I was like, but that's a mirror version of her. And I was like, what is a good Hoshi episode? There was the one with the Organians. Organians is how you say it. In season 4, where she and Trip got really sick. And the Organians the observer effect.
The observers. You know what? That is the one episode I skipped in season 4.
It was fine. It was basically just the throwback was the Organians.
Okay.
But she spent most of the episode sick and dying. So I was like, oh, that's not. I only thought about the episode because there was a little bit of backstory about her, but I was just like, oh, that's not really a good episode. There really wasn't anything. The only thing that I could think of is Fight or Flight, which was season 1, literally episode 2.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Out of all the episodes that kind of feature her, this probably is the episode that best encapsulates her as a character, for better or for worse. And basically in this episode, from memory, I'm not even looking at Memory Alpha, they come across a ship, everyone's dead, and they're being like drained of some sort of chemical. They're like, what's going on? They're like investigating. Hoshi's like freaking out, because they enter the ship. She's on the away team. They enter the ship, and she freaks out because there's like a room full of like just like dead or dying aliens. And she's like,
they're all dead. Yeah, they're all dead. She freaks out. She screams
she's screaming. Yeah. But then later on, basically the people who attacked, the aliens who attacked that ship that they found, the derelict ship that they found, comes back, and it's up to Hoshi and her linguistic skills to get another ship to help them. And she's put on the spot, and she's able to come out of her shock and daze, and she's able to basically save Enterprise. So yeah, I thought that this was a good episode for her, actually, because, it kind of shows that how green she is. She's like, she basically is not really like an officer. She's just, she was basically recruited by Jonathan Archer to help, serve as a communication officer on the Enterprise. And she was kind of just thrown into it. She doesn't like space. And she was kind of put to the test. But yeah, this was like, unfortunately, one of the few episodes that really, I think, did highlight her as a character. But I don't know what you thought about this episode and what you think of Hoshi Sato / Linda Park as a character / actress.
Yeah, I mean, it does. You're right. It does highlight a lot of great character traits of Hoshi early in the series. She didn't want to be there. She really is a teacher. She is forced to translate under the gun, and she does it well. But that was a tense scene at the end where she's relying on the computer instead of herself to do it, and like everyone basically has to say, please talk to them as
Right.
yourself. Please do it where we've got nothing to lose. So I think it does give her something to do. It does kind of fill in her character a little bit. It definitely gives us the theme of season 1 really was a green group of explorers going out into the universe. I mean, after almost all of season 4 that I've watched, a season 3 episode or 2, the finale, and then in the episode that you gave me, Twilight, going backwards and seeing how green they were. And when I thought of Enterprise before my renaissance per se, this is the crew that I remember. And this to me is, it's interesting in the sense that this is sort of where we think Star Trek began, and obviously the Enterprise began, but it's not that exciting. It's kind of, you kind of see Earth explorers in the early days, and it's, there's drama, there's, some stuff going on, but it's just boring. I mean, really, that's why I'm really enjoying season 4, because it gets complicated. It gets interplanetary.
Thank you.
There are aliens that they have made relationships with. This stuff, this early beginnings, like, honestly, why didn't we, why wasn't one of the first places we went Andor in the first season? Why didn't we go, we did go to the Klingon homeworld. Yes, I understand that in the premiere.
Yes.
But, beyond that, like, why didn't we go to Teller, the Tellarites are from Tellar, I would guess. Why didn't we go and like meet these other races and kind of start to form relationships with them? Also, the big thing about this too is you get the idea that the Enterprise really isn't tested very well. The weapons don't work, and they're not that powerful until the very end.
It's like they're so weak. Everything's weak. There's no there are no shields. They have like hull plating. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, there's just a lot of beginning things and
like charge a hull plating. I'm like, all right.
And actually, there's a comment in there. I forget if he says it directly to T'Pol or within T'Pol's earshot, but he does mention how they've been held back for 100 years by the Vulcans, and I'm actually sitting there thinking as I'm watching this, I'm like, yeah, this is the reason why. We don't have the technology yet. We don't, we are idiots to some extent because of our curiosity. We're a small fish in a very big pond, and you have no idea what you're getting yourself into, and you have torpedoes that don't even dent the ship until the end.
I know.
And even then, I don't even understand what changed between the first 2 torpedoes we threw at this alien versus the third one. So
because the other alien ship was helping.
Okay, I mean, no,
that's the only reason why. Yeah, otherwise
okay.
their torpedoes did nothing.
Okay,
because the other ship had shields. So
yeah, so but getting back to Linda Park and Hoshi, I think that I understand why they brought her on. Again,
Asian representation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important to have a diverse crew, and it's not very diverse, and also just as a side note, as I've watched this much Enterprise over the last week, poor Travis Mayweather too.
Oh my god, poor Travis Mayweather. He had even less to do.
He did really, and
he
he's
had
actually
one episode about, because he grew up on like cargo ships or whatever.
Yeah,
so
he grew up in a cargo ship. Yeah,
he visited his cargo ship. I was like, this is so boring.
Yeah, I mean, so I feel bad because every shot of Travis Mayweather is looking at the helm console, like pressing buttons and doing whatever the commanding officer, whether it's Archer or T'Pol or Trip, telling him.
He is occasionally eye candy though, because he has a nice body. So occasionally they give him like a shot where he shows off his arms or something like that. But that's the extent. Poor Travis Mayweather. Yeah, he had.
So these two minor characters, or these 2 major characters that are minor characters, that turn out to be minor characters anyway, unfortunately just did not really get fleshed out. So especially since Malcolm Reed does get fleshed out a little bit more, And I just finished watching the Section 31 kind of little bit, which was good. But again, not a lot for Travis and Hoshi. And I'm not sure what, again, this is where they didn't really think it out, like how to grow these these other main cast members, how to grow their characters, and
it's not like the cast is massive. It's like seven,
it's smaller,
seven people,
7-8
like,
people.
They could have done more.
Yeah,
it's hard to understand why it was so difficult, especially, again, these are 25, 26 episode seasons.
Yeah,
whatever.
They
have the time and the luxury to explore these characters, and it's really unfortunate. I really wish they did more. And it just so happened that it's the two minorities, like, it's the
right. Which, looking back at it now, is bad. That's bad.
Yeah, that's bad. It's so bad.
Yeah. So
I just don't get it, And I think Anna Park's actually a good actress. It's just that they didn't give her much to do. It's not her fault.
Yeah, no, they didn't. They really didn't, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah. So I have nothing else to even say. I have nothing to add about Hoshi Sato. She knows languages.
Yeah, and she, jumping ahead to Twilight, really quickly, like in that whole alternate universe thing, she was just a lieutenant. Again, everyone else had command of their own ship, but she was just a lieutenant. I was like, when Jonathan meets her again, as he comes on the Enterprise, I was kind of expecting like, oh, I'm the first officer, or something a little bit bigger, and I'm like, nope.
Well, they had only 2 ships in Twilight, so it's not
but not even at that point, she was one of the more experienced officers after. And why of everyone, why isn't she down on the planet like teaching languages to the 6,000 human survivors? She's still up on the ship, which I think is interesting in and of itself. So
she's not doing anything. I don't know.
Yeah. So I mean, it's it's unfortunate. I think her and Travis did deserve better. And I just honestly, if we're gonna lay blame, I think it's at the foot of Rick Berman. Really, not really. Kind of, this is really why I think we got Star Trek fatigue back in this, the early 2000s, and why this series ended was because it was just so rote, so standardized, so unimaginative. Although, we just said, as you said, Manny Cotto did bring a lot of imagination and a lot of great arcs to season 4, but like you said, it was too late at that point. Yeah. So it's hard to watch that. Actually, it's hard to see these minority characters 20 years ago being treated like this, and
they're so sidelined. I don't think it was necessarily like intentional, but
I would say
but they also weren't intentional about giving them more to do. Like, even if it wasn't intentional, like that they were getting sidelined, they also didn't make the effort they should have to give them more.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Both ways.
Yeah.
Either way.
But I lay that at the feet of Rick Berman, who is the executive producer. But whatever. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So there's Hoshi Sato. So why don't we move on to our other female character of Enterprise, T'Pol, who definitely had more to do, for sure.
Definitely had more to do. The Forge is all throughout this season 4, she had a lot more to do. Although I've been paying attention to kind of not a lot of facial features, not a lot of like demeanor changes. Like you kind of have to imagine some of the internal stuff that's going on in T'Pol, and you see very small glimmers of her development. I think Twilight is a better highlight of how she's sort of changed, and she had fallen, according to Phlox anyway, fallen in love with Jonathan in that kind of alternate reality universe where he saved her. But definitely a lot of drama around her family
Yes.
having to get married to save her mom.
Yes. Well, she
kinda
also had
this-
like illnesses. I don't know if you recall. She got like she got forced mind meld, which made her sick. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I vaguely remember that. What was
So she was like, so the Enterprise met up with this group of Vulcans that were kind of they had broken away, and they meld.
Yeah.
Like that's so the early Enterprise mythology, pre-discovery of the Kashara, is that Vulcan mind melding is taboo. So you have this ship. They find a ship of Vulcans who have broken away, and they embrace emotions, they embrace mind melding, and T'Pol's really interested in this crew. Like, she part of her scientific curiosity is like, oh, never come across a group of Vulcans like this, and she gets close to one, and he forces himself on her through a meld, but because he's inexperienced in mind melding or initiate mind meld, it causes neurological damage, and it causes her to basically she loses control of her emotions, and like she has some issues. And then in season 3, during the Zinni arc, she becomes addicted to Trillium D or something. Does this sound familiar? Like some sort of
This does sound familiar. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Familiar, like she literally develops a drug addiction, and this causes further neurological damage and causes her emotional boundaries to erode. So you see her having all these like reaction, like she's much more, especially in season 3, she doesn't have as much control over her emotions. She's crying. There are these things that happen, and then they don't resolve it, but in the Vulcan arc, starting with the Forge and Kachara, she gets a mind meld from someone that cures her of like that disease that she got back in season 2.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because one of the characters she meets knows how to meld correctly. So
it's actually the one I believe it's the one who's carrying Surak's Katra.
No, it is the female Vulcan name. I forget.
T'Pol.
And she fixes T'Pol.
Okay. All right.
You may recall. But anyway, she goes through this whole like, she has like all these physical issues, but she is actually less restrained emotionally than your standard Vulcan, which makes her more like Spock, I guess. And she's also the science officer on the Enterprise. I don't know. There's too many, recycled ideas.
There, yeah. Right. Yeah.
But she does. I do like her development as a character because she comes to appreciate humans. She comes to forge this strong relationship with Jonathan Archer and Trip. There are a lot of things like that you can see, especially if you start in season 1, you see that evolution of her character and her sympathy towards humanity, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, you get that. You get to see that in season 4. I think that all of this there's not enough. You have to piece a lot of things together about T'Pol, and even as Trip is leaving the Enterprise to go work on Columbia because he's so ridiculously in love with her,
right?
And
he has this major crush on her.
You still get the feeling like she is completely clueless about this, and that's a little frustrating to kind of see. Like they after all they'd been through and everything, although Trip never really confessed his feelings to her, it's she's kind of clueless about this aspect of her life. But I think there's more to come in the last couple of episodes about, I don't know, the description in Netflix talks about Trip and her having a child or something. So I'm gonna get there. Yeah. So I think that I may not. Well, obviously saw her in Fight or Flight, and she's very Vulcan, almost like Ambassador Saval Vulcan, you don't like, she's basically the speaker of every idea that Soval had. Which I actually never really liked Soval until the Forge towards the end, where he realizes what's going on.
Yes.
And
because he becomes more sympathetic, because up to that point he's a total jerk. Like, he's a total jerk.
Yeah.
And then up to that point he gets the sympathetic side where he appreciates even his appreciation of humanity, you know, like, it's like whatever.
Yeah. He becomes a little bit less rigid. And so it's but for T'Pol, I think that's where she started, was like kind of a clone of him, like a follower of his, and then developed her own experience with humans that allowed her to grow. But then this whole romance with T'Pol, with Trip, you know, it's just, it never, I don't know. So far it hasn't. I mean, I've still got a few more episodes to go, but it's never really, you know, it drives him away, you know, because he can't come to terms with, or I don't know, I still don't get what is holding Trip back from just telling her and like having it out. Like, he's such a jerk to her when he leaves. I
thought that he did, and then she basically said that she doesn't share those same feelings. Did I make that up?
I don't know. I think the
I thought
whole
they had
idea
a conversation.
Kind of.
I thought they had a conversation, but I don't remember.
If they did, I must have missed the innuendo in it, because I don't think they would have outright said it. But obviously she also had this whole idea of costs on her mind, and I think that's still
that complicated.
Even when
the fact that she was married.
Yeah. But then she wasn't married, and you know, after that she didn't actively pursue Trip or anything like that. So, you know, I don't know. It's very you can kind of see the drama. Yeah, it's a lot of drama, but it feels like it's mostly on Trip's side, because T'Pol plays it off as being almost clueless about having any feelings for Trip. And when Hoshi starts, you know, she doesn't even open up to Hoshi, which I kind of understand. As first officer, you wouldn't open yourself up to an ensign, you know, but, you know, when she mind melds with Hoshi to help her, Hoshi has this residual effect of having this dream about T'Pol and Trip. And
yes, I remember.
But she's actually in T'Pol's body, so she thinks it's her and not that it's T'Pol. And, you know, so there's a sometimes there's a psychological carryover or whatever, but you know, it's just kind of there's a lot unsaid with T'Pol. And I think as we get to the end of this series, you know, I feel like there's probably, you know, I think if Manny Cotto had been given a 5th season, I think we could have seen some real growth on T'Pol's part, as far as like starting to have those conversations, and maybe starting to be a little more, not that this is, you know, this may seem like a slur, but a little bit more human, and being a little bit more talkative with her feelings and what's going on with her. But
there's a little bit of that. I don't think she ever reaches that. I would say, like, that kind of like frankness and honesty, and maybe like camaraderie that Spock develops with Kirk. You know, I don't think they ever reached that level, unfortunately. You know, I think that if Enterprise kept on going, like, maybe, but you know, like, she
it would be interesting to see what a 5th season would have brought. But
no, I think overall, T'Pol, they did focus. I mean, basically, her, Trip, and Jonathan Archer are like the 3 mains, you know, like, so they definitely gave her a lot to do. I think that she was definitely Enterprise's kind of 7 of 9, like, especially with the first episode, Broken Bow. Like, they, like, you know, she wore like the skin tight Vulcan suit all the time, and it was annoying. And then the one time she did have, like, in Twilight, where she's wearing a Starfleet uniform, it's like the most ill. I don't know if you noticed. It was the most ill-fitting is the most.
No, I noticed. Yes,
It was
absolutely.
like back. It was like,
horrible.
oh, she's only gonna wear it for one scene. Let's not even tailor it. And she's literally swimming in this thing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
people, like tailor this. It's one scene, but it's her on the bridge. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. It was a little bit lazy on the part of Gersha Phillips would never have let that slide.
I mean, they were on budget. But no, I think that like she had a lot of great moments throughout Enterprise. She was a scientist. She was a logical one, obviously. So I think that she brought that scientific, logical flair to the opposite of Hoshi, who's like screaming and like panicking. She's like the calm one that is able to approach situations with a lens of practicality and experience. So even though they didn't listen to it a lot in the early, there were, there's this very adversarial, certainly in Fight or Flight, there's this very still adversarial relationship between Archer and her. Well, they didn't know if they could trust her, and that was one thing that was cool too. I mean, like her relationship with Jonathan Archer, because at first, like they were like, she's totally a spy for the Vulcans. They didn't want to confide in her, but eventually, they learned to trust her, and she learned to trust them. And I thought that part was interesting, that they got off on that kind of footing. But eventually, you see Jonathan Archer really confide in her and trust her as his first officer, which I did like that evolution. And again, it doesn't get to the point where it's Spock and Kirk and they're like almost like buddy. And you have this like Spock, Kirk, McCoy kind of, that kind of friendship. They never get to that. Yeah, but, they don't. I think that's okay. They don't even get to that with Archer and Trip, as Trip is tendering his resignation and wants to leave. There's this barrier even between him and Archer that he doesn't want to talk about. He doesn't want to talk about his feelings with what would be most notably his best friend on the ship. And he's a little private about that. Yeah. I mean, he talked to Malcolm Reed about, on the probe ship when they were on there by themselves, talked to him about T'Pol more than he did with Jonathan Archer. And I think that's interesting. So there's some inconsistencies here that, if you start paying attention to too much, and again, we're looking at a lens, we're looking through a different lens 20 years later. Right. So it is, I think that the actors, Jolene Blalock did a great job with that. Yeah, no. She's very beautiful and has a great smile. And I think it would have, obviously it's, counterproductive to have a Vulcan smile, but I did appreciate her. I think they dressed her a little bit downplayed from 7 of 9, but definitely had the cleavage going on. Oh yeah, I mean, no, she never had the silver catsuit like the 7 of 9. It was a red catsuit instead. But it was more, at least, like it wasn't shiny. It was like at least matte, which I was like, all right, I can buy this versus like 7. Yeah. Reflective suit. Yeah, and as we talked about Discovery's new uniforms and our first contact day thing, I'm thinking, after 3 years, it's too bad Manny Cotto didn't have a little bit more budget and couldn't update everyone's kind of uniforms, because really the only difference between the Enterprise and the Columbia's uniforms was the patch on the side. Yes. So it's an interesting kind of dynamic, but it's I am kind of bummed that we didn't get another season. It would have been interesting to see what Manny Cotto would have done with that, for sure. Yeah, but oh well, too bad. Yeah. Anyway, so I never got into I never got into the follow-up novels either for Enterprise. So I never, same with Voyager. I never really got into the post Voyager finale novels either. So I mean, there are only a
Yeah.
small handful for Enterprise, to be honest. It's not like, again, it wasn't the most popular series, so it's not
Yeah.
like it spawned all of these follow-up novels like Voyager did.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think you had like a champion for Enterprise novels. Like Voyager, you had Kirsten Beyer. You know, she was like the Voyager
Right, yeah.
novelist. You know, she was the one you went to for Voyager like fiction. So
and now she's running Picard, which
right.
is great.
And Enterprise has never had that champion. You know, like
it's too bad Manny
they
Cotta
never had like a
wasn't
Peter
more of a
David.
writer.
You know? They never had like Peter David for
Yeah.
TNG. Things like that.
To TNG,
so.
yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, no, it's too bad Manny Cotta wasn't more of a writer and could kind of contribute that and kind of carry on what he would have seen as his vision for future seasons. But but here we are. So that's
at least T'Pol had more to do than say Beverly Crusher or Deanna Troi. I don't know if those are good benchmarks. And
well, she definitely had more to do than Hoshi, and
she had more to do than Hoshi or Travis Mayweather.
Yep. Yeah. It's true. Whatever. Yeah. So
anyway, anything else about T'Pol?
No, I don't have anything.
Well, I think that about does it for our Enterprise Women of Trek episode. I mean, is there anything else that you want to say about either Hoshi Sato or T'Pol?
No, I mean, those are the only two women of Enterprise, right?
There's like nobody else.
There's no other.
Else. We don't have like even a tertiary character to talk about.
Well, we do in season 4. You get Captain Hernandez, which is
that's right. But Captain Hernandez does have a big role in the Destiny novels. That was good. Remember that?
Oh yeah, right. Yes, she does.
She was like thrown back in time.
Yeah.
This whole nonsense.
Yeah. Yep, I do remember that. Yeah, she did, and that was good as well. Unfortunate what happened to her and her crew, but
yes.
But yes.
She survived though. She was fine.
Yes.
Yes.
But yeah, it was good to see her character. I think that's the only other major woman in Enterprise. I mean,
I think so.
You know, looking back at Enterprise now, it's such a example.
Kind of a mess, to be honest.
Yeah, it's an example of. I mean, in this Me Too generation, you know, that we're living in right now, I think it's crazy how this, like all the admirals and all of the Vulcans, with the exception of T'Pol, are all men, all played by white males. I mean, it's just,
I know,
it's kind of an example of just. I don't even know how to describe it. I want to say
it's just like lack of like foresight, like, you know, and especially given how diverse Star Trek has tried to be in a very purposeful way. I think that they just, you know, forgot or something, and it just feels very cobbled together. It's like, let's figure it out as we go along, and like, let's not really plan out anything, and let's not really give the minorities on the show anything good to do. And everyone's white. I don't know.
Yeah.
And the storylines are all over the place, you know. So
yeah, it's definitely not a. I mean, the actors did a great job with what they were given.
The actors are actually
good
cast.
You know, I lay this at the feet of Rick Berman, and you know, I'm happy that he's not part of the current Trek universe, which is good. But I think it's also an example of how this all male, all white male dominated system existed just 20 years ago, and is very apparent in the TV show that a TV show that we both love.
Yeah, which is too bad.
So it's
but the cast was great. You know, Jonathan Archer was a great character. Scott Bakula did a great job with him. I think like out of all the captains, he's probably the most like kind of down to earth, regular kind of guy. Like, you know, he's a guy that you would get lunch with, you know, and he's just like, he shoot the shit, you know. I do think that he did bring an air of that to the character that I really did like.
Yeah, And you know what? I just had deja vu there because I believe you've said that exact same
Did
thing
I?
before.
Have
Yes.
I? Are you sure?
Yeah.
On the
Yeah.
podcast?
Well, I think that you said that in our early days of
I
podcasting,
remember
somewhere
nothing.
along. I remember those exact words coming out of your mouth. You said,
Wow. Oh my God. I'm just like a robot. I'm just like repeating my
"You
ones and
are, you
zeros.
have." Well, I mean, obviously, it means a lot to you that you're not a robot. You're, you know, when it comes to Jonathan Archer, you would have lunch with Jonathan Archer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also Scott Bakula is just like a cool guy, you know? He's just like
Yeah,
chill,
he's a
dude.
great actor. You know, getting him to lead Star Trek was probably a pretty good move. To kind, I think they did that to boost
Mhm.
the ratings a little bit. You know, it unfortunately didn't carry the show beyond 4 seasons, unfortunately, for a lot of different reasons. But yeah, no, I think it's the cast is great, and yeah, it's just unfortunate that more wasn't done with the material. So yeah, so that's our Enterprise kind of, and I'm sure next week I'll talk a little bit about my last few episodes of watching it, but and
Mhm.
enjoying it. But I think we've covered it, and
You're
I think
fine.
we can
You're
go on from
fine.
here. But I think we should take a moment to talk about our sponsor, Fansets.
Fansets. Yes. Fansets.
Yes, Fansets. So they do have a few Hoshi and T'Pol pins that you can pick up. Both Hoshi and T'Pol are part of the Women of Trek. T'Pol was in
I would hope
series
so.
1. Yeah, I would too. But T'Pol was part of series 1. Hoshi was part of series 2. And they do have micro crew pins for both of them, although they are completely different designs.
They look so different. Yeah.
Yeah, they are
T'Pol
so
looks
different.
cartoony, and Hoshi
looks more like the more
something.
modern ones that we yeah. And T'Pol's one, it's more like season 1-ish. The all black and or / gray charcoal, whatever it is. Fortunately, her Women of Trek pin is the red cat suit that we were just talking about moments ago. So
I actually like the red one that she that's probably
I do too. I really do like it a lot. And they use that same color on her in Twilight. I
love her
12
hair
years
in
later.
Twilight. Like she has like this ponytail.
This ponytail. She's speaking of Twilight for a second, we really didn't talk a lot about Twilight. We didn't go too deep we didn't go too deep into the Forge drama that was her family, and also this whole belief that she didn't she was kind of like this old school Vulcan who didn't believe in mind melding, didn't believe in couldn't believe that her mother was part of these outsiders. So but that's these outsiders are actually what we would consider our modern day Vulcans.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's interesting that you kind of see that. And
well, that was interesting because I feel that was like Manny Cotto trying to steer the Vulcan mythology back to what we know, because that was a complaint from a lot of Enterprise fans. They were like, these Vulcans feel so different than the ones we know, especially why are they against melding, and then there was a lot of like that in season 4. There was a lot of that course correcting, if you kind of noticed that. It's like from the mythology that they set up in earlier seasons to the lore that we are more familiar with.
It's interesting. I think you kind of see that in the First Minister, who from the outside looking in, like, he's very emotional.
Yes.
He's like yelling at the council, and like,
but he was also like a Romulan spy, like a Romulan.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, right. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
That's true. So yeah,
I don't know if he was like a Romulan, but he was like a operative of some sort.
Yeah, he was an operative, someone who mixed in with this unification or reunification, which I thought was like, wow, that's kind of crazy that they brought that back.
Yeah.
that far back, and that was just from obviously Next Generation's reunification, like that whole piece of it. So,
and the one thing I really do like about now if we're backtracking to talk about the show.
We are, yes, we're all over the place.
Those 3 episodes really did do a great job, kind of delving into the early days of the development of Vulcan, because you get these flashbacks to Surak, and you go into a little bit of the mythology around the split between the Vulcans and Romulans. I thought that was interesting because we never really got that level of detail in the backstory. So I really did like that too, because because on TNG we heard about that, but we never really saw it. So I did really appreciate that trilogy and how it kind of delved into the background of how that all came down.
Yeah, and the logic of Surak and Katras and things like that we saw in Star Trek 3. Spock's Katra. So yeah. So anyway, getting back to fan sets, because that's where we started with this whole thing. Yes. We thank them for being our sponsor. If you want to get some T'Pol or Hoshi or other, they have a ton of great pins. If you put them all into your cart, you'll get 10% off if you enter the code DS Pride,
caps,
all caps, in your in there, and you'll get 10% off. And also, if you're in the US, you'll get 30. If you put $30 worth of pins in your cart, you'll get free shipping. So we thank the people at Fansets for sponsoring the Trek Geeks Podcast Network and Deep Space Pride.
Thanks, Fansets.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. So Mike, if people want to reach out to us and they want to be sharing their thoughts about Hoshi Sato or T'Pol or anything else Enterprise related, how can they reach us?
Sure. Well, there are a couple of great ways. You can email us at deepspacepride@gmail.com, or you can DM us on Instagram or Twitter at Deep Space Pride, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as we can.
Can they technically also leave us a voicemail or something? I think we have.
I don't know if that's still. I don't know if that's still happening over.
It's not functioning anymore on the site.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I've not checked.
Someone should try that and see if we get it. Because I don't know. It might just go into.
No, it'll probably just be better. Just email us or DM us. You don't need to.
Unless you're very adventurous.
Well, you can send us a voice message in an Instagram,
an attachment. Okay,
yeah, you can do voice messages in Instagram. So
I suppose.
Yeah,
I suppose.
We'd love to hear from you, and I think that wraps it up for this week. And
we don't know yet what we're going to talk about next week, but we will find out.
No, we've had
our fans.
Yes, it'll be episode 30, I think. Right? This is 29. I
believe you're correct.
So
we don't need 30? To celebrate every 5 episode increments. It's okay.
I'm not. 30 is a big number. You turn 30.
Every
30.
10 episodes is a big number.
Every 10 years is a big number.
Let's talk about let's make 50 a bigger deal. And
of course.
5 episode increments. All right, whatever.
Anyway.
Yes,
we'll come up with something interesting and new to talk about, I'm sure.
When is Prodigy coming out again? I'm just waiting for new content. Please.
Well, I mean, it's hard because you've literally watched all of the past Star Trek.
I understand.
In the last year, so you're actually more versed in what we can talk about than I. I will pick the highlights, whereas you can kind of get into the minutia and pick out episodes like Twilight and Fight or Flight as specific episodes. So you do have that kind of advantage.
Yes, that's true.
So I mean, maybe we should go back and dip into the Next Generation well and pick out something to
Sub Rosa. Oh my God, you have to watch it.
All right, maybe we'll talk about Sub Rosa.
Oh my God, that would be really funny.
All right, well, thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah, thanks everyone, our 3 fans, wherever you are. We'll see you. We'll see you in Vegas.
We'll see you in Vegas and or Chicago in the year. Yeah.
All right.
No, thanks everybody, and we'll see you again next week.
There it is. Bye, everyone.
Space Pride is a production of Coconut Media Works. Executive producers Bill Smith and Dan Davidson. For more great Star Trek discussion, discover the other shows of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network at trekgeeks.com or find us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.
Coconut.